I thought for a long time that my driving force was my intrinsic curiosity about strangers and all the illicit things that other people do. I thought I sat on the outside, observing, manipulating, and drawing conclusions. I was wrong. What began as a job became a life, and my most captivating secret of all. Behind that unmarked midtown door, I uncovered hiding places that I hadn't known existed in me, and whose contents weren't easy to behold. Ultimately, though, when I did, it surprised me to find that my own dark underside wasn't so strange or sick as I feared. This book is that story. Part 1. 1. Steve knew to be kneeling when I walked into the red room, his torso bent over his knees, forehead resting on the rug. He knew to be clean. He knew to undress and to fold his clothes neatly behind the door so that I walked into an immaculate room, nothing between me and the softly folded fist of his body but anticipation. While desire rose off Steve in fumes, steeping the whole room in its cloying vapor, I reveled in its absence. Just minutes before entering the red room, I adjusted my garters before the dressing room mirror, wrapped my fingers in electrical tape, and felt that happy absence whose vacancy made room for some other unnamed thing to fill me. I felt it already, the way you can smell autumn coming. Steve was into heavy flogging, and the tape protected the clefts between my index and middle fingers, where I would soon clench a flogger handle in each hand. I had cued the music, which piped from the main office into all 12 rooms of the dungeon, to begin just a few seconds before I walked into the red room. The music I sessioned to was all the same. While I preferred angrier music for meaner sessions, all that really mattered was the bass line. I didn't need a plan to have a good session. I needed a pulse. If that great red-walled room was a womb, I was its heart. I was the moving center, my will a muscular force. There was nowhere I could go, it seemed, that the cushion of my client's longing wouldn't support me. It happened to be 10:45 in the morning, but the only time that mattered in that room was indicated on the wall-mounted timer that I turned a full circle when I walked in. There was only ever 1 hour in the dungeon. As I closed the door behind me, the pale stripe of my body shifting on the mirrored walls, I dropped my supply box on the floor by the door. Steve flinched at the sound, as I'd intended. I let my heels fall heavy against the wood floor on my way to a row of hooks lining the wall. Retrieving a smooth length of rope, I draped it around my shoulders. Then, finding Steve's favorite floggers, I held one in each hand, letting their thick tassels swing against my legs as I approached him, knowing the gentle slap of leather against my legs would agitate him. Standing over his curled body from behind, I dropped a flogger to the floor on either side of him and bent over so that only the tips of my hair and my breath touched him. "Get the fuck up," I whispered. "Yes, mistress," he exhaled and hurried to his feet, head still bowed toward his chest. Steve also knew that looking at me was a privilege he had to earn. Pulling his hands behind his back, I slid the rope off my shoulders and looped it around his wrists. With a few quick loops and a single knot, I securely bound his arms from wrists to shoulders. I paused then, giving him a few moments to absorb the warmth of my body so close behind him and the embrace of the rope, which I knew would only feel tighter as our hour progressed. There were clients I cowed with words, but with Steve, his own anticipation was enough to wilt him into submission. I just had to pause and let it accumulate. Slowly dragging the tip of my finger from the base of his spine to the hard vertebral knuckle at the base of his neck, I watched a shudder follow my touch up his body. Pausing again, I let my fingertip rest on him and knew how the heat of my touch rippled out across his body. No job, indeed, no exercise.